Welcome, people, to the Sunday edition of
What up?
Blunt
What
Talk
up?
Nola.
What up?
I am your host, P. Dot on the spot,
Sunshine 17. Gauze.
and we are once again Blunt Talk Nola. All right, so this week's discussion is I titled it "Talking with Friends and Family," and in the description, if you see what the description say, it basically tells you everything that we're gonna be covering today. It's not a whole lot that we got to roll with as far as um like major stuff, but this is some stuff that me and Silent had a good discussion on Friday after the Friday's
Hey, man,
episode.
speak for yourself, man. My other news gonna be popping.
Well, no, I'm talking about the actual us talking about what we were talking about Friday, which made me come up with today's segment. So, me and him having that good brotherly talk like we always do sometimes definitely gave me a spark to talk about good friendships, family, uh, and the things thereof because everybody has family that have problems or friends that have problems. And we really sometimes as friends and as members of the family don't know how to communicate with them or even if we do, we we don't want our communication with them to be a harsh one. So we either like I guess you could say as I was saying, baby fine. And so we really want to just sit down and talk about that with y'all for the day. And if y'all could give us y'all input and insight into it, that'll help us out. Uh, so we just gonna go ahead and get ready to get rolling. Silent, you say you had some
For
end
sure,
of the
for
news
sure.
for us. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the helm on that one, my brother, because I did not do nothing this weekend until I
I
fucked up.
appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Shout out to the Gaming Proceeds 5. What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to the building. We got some quick ones, but not really. But there's some head bangers. Got family had some problems out there in Houston with how they people was being finalized as they moved on into the next world. And it's interesting
Hmm.
things that happen in the midst of them checking on their people at the funeral home. Check this out.
Oh shit.
From Richardson Mortuary in Southwest Houston, a family says an employee there stabbed one of them after they discovered their deceased loved one was left decomposing in a room with no AC. We want to thank you for joining us for KPRC2 News at 6. I'm Keith Garvin.
Good evening. I'm Daniela Guzman. Well, Richardson Mortuary is located near Alameda Road and West Fuqua in Southwest Houston. So since we broke this story, more families have showed up to the mortuary concerned for their loved ones' remains. Our reporter Corley Peel is there right now. What else have you learned since you got there, Corley?
Daniela and Keith, we spoke with HPD, and in the past 30 minutes or so, we've learned that 10 bodies were found inside this funeral home earlier today. If you take a look behind me, you can see that this is still an active scene, a heavy police presence. We've seen cars coming and going from this location. We've been told that the bodies that were found inside this funeral home are being moved to another funeral home location. Now, take a look at this video that we received earlier today. This cell phone video is basically what helped prompt this investigation. A woman tells us she showed up here to the funeral home with her brother to check on her mother and uncle's bodies. She says she had a gut feeling something was not right. Inside, she found deplorable condition. She says there was hardly any air conditioning, and when she opened up her mother's casket, she says gnats flew out. While trying to take her mother's casket, police say an employee stabbed her brother. He was taken to the hospital, and he is expected to be okay. We spoke with a woman who showed up here to check on her grandmother's body. She says she found out about this investigation because of this cell phone video. Take a listen.
She was a loving person. She fed everybody. She'll give you the clothes off her back. And she was a fighter. She was in a wheelchair. She was paralyzed. And to see her arm kind of like draped off that stretcher, it's just, it's heartbreaking. But at the end of the day, I know God has this thing at the end of it all.
And again, it is still an active scene right here. We are told that the owner of the funeral home had a heart attack and he is currently in the hospital. They're still waiting to speak with him as well. I did speak with the owner of the building, but he did not wish to comment at this time. But we are working to find out more information about what's been going on here. The HPD tells us that charges are not being filed at this time regarding that stabbing. They said the victim is being okay. They said the reason why charges aren't being accepted is because they say the employee was acting in self-defense, but it is still an ongoing investigation. At this time, there's no charges filed in connection to the bodies that were found here, but this is still an active scene. They're still collecting as much evidence and talking to as many people as they can to piece together their investigation. We've also been told that the health department is on their way here to look at inspections and the history with inspections for this building and this business. But we, of course, we will keep you updated. Reporting live, Corley Peel, KPRC 2 News.
Corley.
That is a very messed up situation. Not just for the people that prompted the investigation. That's a messed up situation for everybody that got a family member that's waiting to be, taken care of over there, right? Now, if I am attempting to remove my family members from said premises to get them into a better facility that can do what I paying them to do, and I get stabbed, but you're saying that you acted in self defense. I don't think a person getting stabbed, depending on where they get stabbed at, too, you could honestly say that you acted in self defense. I think you just was acting in preservation of the dollars that you were supposed to be making off of these bodies that you were trying to do what you were supposed to be doing, right? Then the police is saying that they can't really press any charges because it's an active investigation. There is no air conditioning in that building, right? And especially not enough air conditioning to take care of what they need to take care of as far as keeping bodies preserved up until time for their funeral or whatever like that. That's the other thing. But then the biggest thing is, shouldn't that be desecration of a deceased or a dead body? That because the people weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing with those bodies, right? Because if we just saw a brother lose his job down here for dragging the dead body downstairs, what are they going to do about these people who were not doing what they were supposed to be doing as far as preserving the bodies up until the point of the funeral out there in Houston? Hmm, that's questionable. A lot of that shit sound fucked up.
Yeah, it's definitely negligence on the funeral home owners, and I think this is another time where we could talk about regulations when it comes to stuff like this. The government
Right,
should have something in place for these type of things, and they don't, and these people get to hold these bodies like this in these type of conditions, even without the proper place to even keep them. Did you see all that shit in that place? You saw how tore up that motherfucker was? It looked like they
right.
weren't even
Like they
supposed to
was
be
under.
holding bodies in there.
Right. That's
Like
the first
sheetrock
thing I
was
was
on the
looking at. Like
ground and shit. Like the wall was coming.
broke
Like
up sheet
the
rock. Hey, like what the fuck is
like
going on in there?
like what was
What?
y'all doing? Was y'all still taking on clients and shit, knowing y'all couldn't house it? and shit. So
Yes.
it's a lot of
Yep. That's what
bullshit
it
that
looked
was
like.
going on with that shit, bro. And there is some kind of charges that they trust me. Look in that fucking book deep enough, cause you barely hear shit like this, but at the same time, you still should know what's the proper procedure to go when they doing shit like that. The man said he had gnats came out to met the lady. Gnats, bro. Like,
You know that's not good. They only come around in a certain time of year. They love being where it's moist at. So you can't sit here and tell me that them not having no air conditioning, they didn't think about it. If you see gnats in that bitch, that means it's hot enough for them bitches to breathe. And if
yes, that's the main
gnats in
thing.
that bitch breathing, right? If gnats in there is breathing, you know what's coming next. Them fucking maggots, flies.
Maggots,
Then
flies,
flies
yeah,
breed.
all that shit.
Yep, all that shit gonna start breeding off a whole bunch of other stuff. And then before you know it, you gotta just go ahead and cremate the rest of the body because they so badly deteriorate. Well, shit, the deterioration
Had
process
it
done already
decomposing.
started. So you really can't even have an open casket funeral for them people now. You gotta go ahead and do a closed casket funeral because they wasn't being properly preserved. And
At
that's
all.
the thing that so what do you do
Now he didn't had a
legally?
heart attack. What you think he didn't had a heart attack about?
Because he know he
The
about
owner,
to lose some money. He about to lose money. He about to get sued and everything. Think about it. I
employee,
come in here paying you
stabbed the
this
brother.
money. Yeah, now all of a sudden the owner that had a heart attack.
What he was helping up for though? To stab the brother,
That's a
like
good
if I come
question.
in there and it's warm as a motherfucker in here. You probably in here sweating with the bodies. You pull out a knife and shit to protect yourself. Like
For
what
what?
was your argument there? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, for what? Like
So
these
it
people
makes
come
him
in
look
here.
guilty too, dog, for even talking about pulling out knives and
Oh,
shit to protect what's going on.
I
Probably
was
got
trying to
something to do
protect
with that
myself.
shit. Him too.
Protect myself from what? What would you protect? If these people are upset, y'all not doing what y'all supposed to be doing with their loved
hmm
ones.
And more
Then
people
it's
who was
two of them
actually
in there.
at the funeral home had their people there came through too. So it became a big thing, bro. Because obviously that funeral home was being used in the community a lot. Like people fucked with them. So it started a big thing, bro. Because them people were supposed to be known for doing them people funerals and shit around there. And come to find
Right.
out, you've been scamming and scheming with these
The
people
whole
bodies,
time.
bro. No people, yeah, bro. People, man. That you don't give no fuck, bro. You looking at them people like commodity, bro. They not even, you know what I'm saying? There's no empathy for what's going on, bro.
That's
Like
like the old
none at all, bro. And it's getting worse and
I don't
worse.
know if you remember seeing like in them old cowboy movies when the mortician be walking around with that measuring tape. When they get ready to go have the gunfight, that nigga walk around with the measuring tape, measuring motherfuckers and shit like, yeah, I'm gonna need a casket about this tall, about this wide. Shit. Like that seemed like what them motherfuckers be doing, bro. And don't be giving no fucks, cause I'm just here to collect money to bury you to put you in the casket. And I be telling
Yeah,
people that
that's why you gotta
be
check on
saying,
employees and all that shit. You can't just own shit and
yeah,
just leave it alone.
no, cause you don't know who doing what.
You're responsible. Yeah, your ass
You
responsible
respond
for that shit.
like if they can't be responsible employees, then you gotta take responsibility when shit falls off as the owner of the when everything starts falling down, as the owner, you have to start taking responsibility for whatever happened because you wasn't doing due diligence with your employees. You know that make me say right here, right now. That go back to what we were saying when we were talking about the stuff with the dude from the coroner's office down here. They're supposed to have body cameras on. You know, at least. a body camera on each person that go in there to make sure they're doing the right thing. That way there can't be no nothing said about this, that, and the other. Also, them funeral homes, the mortuaries, they should have cameras seeing or watching every angle of the plate. All four corners. If they got a corner if they got like a spot that could be considered a blind spot, right? I think a camera should be overhead watching everything. Why? Because you don't know what these people be in these funeral homes doing, right? We done covered stories where people are taking the body parts and selling them, right? Or doing all
Mm.
kind of messed up stuff to the body. So at the end of the
Yep.
day, to cover yourself, put cameras across your mortuary, right? Put body cams on the people that's supposed to be doing the work for your mortuary. That way, you know, or with them little GoPro camera have, the helmet cameras,
Hmm.
make the motherfuckers wear that
Hmm.
shit. Hey, come on, you got 8 hours here. Nah, in your 8 hours, this camera stay on your head. I don't care if you gotta go use the bathroom. You use the bathroom, you put this camera on. Nah, you could take it off when you go in the bathroom. When you come out that bathroom, you gotta put this camera back on, and you can't turn it off. When you go in the door, you can take it off, put it on a little hook that we gonna have outside the door for you to protect your privacy. When you come out that bathroom, you better have the camera back on your head. I'm just saying that'll cut down on a lot of this. I think, bro, for real. I'm saying it. It sounds funny, but I think that'll definitely stop a lot of this unnecessary foolishness with these mortuaries. And there ain't no such thing as, oh, we can't afford it. Because if you charging motherfuckers from anywhere from 3,000 to damn near $20,000 just for a fucking casket in a funeral service, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no such thing as, oh, well, we can't afford that kind of technology. That's the same thing the fucking police be saying. But you fucking cameras don't cost that fucking much. Shit. Cut that bullshit out. Wait, we got comments. Okay. Yeah, Dee, somebody would need to give me some answers too.
Well, that boy
And
pulled
you
out that
right
knife.
about
A
it.
nigga ain't had none.
She said I would have lost to seeing my mama being disrespected like that. Yeah, that's good. I mean,
That
when
motherfucker
you look
ain't
at
had
it,
no answer to you. And
fuck that. I gotta protect myself.
he ain't want to
Cause
speak
you
none
gotta
of
think
that
about
shit.
it. Nigga probably was already
Could you imagine the
seeing that
smell in
thing.
that motherfucker, Didi?
Ooh, I know that. But think about it. You know it's gotta
Oh,
smell bad. Like it
how
had to
you
smell
in there?
bad. That's why
It's stinking. That
your girl. That's why I'm like your girl said she felt like something was off. But if you look at the building itself, it ain't no feeling that something is off. You know something is off. Something ain't right in there. You know what I'm saying? Cause like the video we saw, sheetrock all on the floor, wall broke up, or like they was in there doing
yeah, they still
renovation.
had bodies in some of the gurneys and shit too. Some of the
Right.
bodies were still on
So
the gurneys
and covered up with
and covered up,
that little that
and
little
it's hot in
blanket
there.
shit. And it's
Yeah,
hot in there. So you know the odor probably tearing that place up right now. But they probably was in a different part of the building where they couldn't smell it. But your girl felt like something was off. She's like, nah, these motherfuckers seem like they trying to hide something. Let me go back here. Where the bodies kept at? Where my mama body at? Take me back here. And she go open up the casket and gnats fly out of there. So, and then if I remember correctly, she said her grandmother and her uncle is in that place. She, that means you got two people in here that we got to get up out of here because y'all not doing the right thing with their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, man. I could just see if it was more than that, that'd be a big old problem. Man, I don't know, bro. These funeral homes, mortuaries, and all these places, I think in wasting all that money doing all this other shit, they need to start investigating these types of places too. You know what I'm saying? Because the insurance money that we getting for our loved one being deceased or passing away, and the insurance money is supposed to be helping pay for their funeral services. If they're not getting the respect they deserve from the mortuary, that means all this money they done paid for insurance all these fucking years is being wasted on people doing fraudulent shit. So I feel like at this point, if you could do all that and collect money off of a dead body, I'm gonna collect money off your ass while you alive and sue the shit out you. Somebody gotta pay for it.
It's a great point, Club. It's a good way to look at it. Got some more for you too, bro. People, we've been talking about this for the last uh I'm gonna say last week, last 2 weeks, 2, 3 weeks, I'm gonna say. With
Mm,
exposing a lot of this black market or underground type cabals and these coalitions that get together to control certain things and shit. And a lot of these tactics come from mafia and mob activity, which in later years been looked down as because they supposedly had this big investigation on the mob and they arrested a lot of them. But oh no, this doesn't stop. The families still exist. These things are still going on to this day. It's just that it's a new time and day that we're living in, and you have to do things a little bit different. But the flavor, the sauce, the foundation of all this underground shit, it still exists to this day. And we got some people that's been caught up once again, just like in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, when they've been taking these people down. The FBI has been working on this investigation in New Jersey for about 2 years now, this operation, and they done uncovered some shit, along with a councilman and a mob boss. Over 36 people has been arrested. Here's some of the clip.
damn.
Well, we're going to shift gears into a different story and tell you about what prosecutors are calling a major mob takedown in New Jersey, the kind we haven't seen for some time in our area.
Now, the state attorney general announced charges against dozens of people for their part in allegedly orchestrating a North Jersey gambling ring for the benefit of the infamous Lucchese crime family. And among those charged, a local elected official.
Eyewitness News reporter Janice Yu is live in Patterson with more. Janice.
Well, Sandra and David, this business here behind me, Garden Pinball, was one of many businesses that were searched by officials on Wednesday. Again, there were several locations hit throughout New Jersey. Officials searched 4 poker clubs in Totowa, Garfield, and Woodland Park, and 6 homes of people alleged to be involved. In total, 39 people have been charged with racketeering, gambling offenses, money laundering, among other things. Authorities say some of those arrested are members of the infamous Lucchese crime family or partners of the family, like Anand Shah, who is a Prospect Park council member. Shah is a 2-term councilman who is up for re-election this year, and he's alleged to have managed illegal poker games and an online sports book. Now, the mayor of Prospect Park released a statement saying the investigation is ongoing, but that he wants to reaffirm that the administration holds all public officials to the highest standard of ethics.
I am keenly aware of the public's perception of elected officials in New Jersey and the lack of trust that so many have in their public officials and governmental institutions. The arrest of a sitting council member only adds fuel to that fire, but I also want it to serve as a warning to other elected and appointed officials throughout our state who operate as if the laws don't apply to them.
All 39 people arrested face multiple charges, including first-degree racketeering. If convicted on just that charge, people could be facing 10 to 20 years in prison. Live in Patterson, Janice Yu, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So
So
when you bust
just
open
on
things
one
like
rack,
this, bro, it just huh?
so just on one racketeering charge, you can get 20 years. 10 to
10 to 20 years.
10 to 20
Yes,
years. Man, that ain't
yes.
enough time considering these is elected officials that's breaking the law,
It's not only
right?
elected officials; they're a piece
Right. No, I'm just saying
of
for
the
that,
pie, and
for
you
the elected
remember,
officials, it's like 36 other
pedophiles get
motherfuckers.
the
Yeah.
less the worst shit. Okay, the racketeering is not killing nobody or nothing. So I get it, I understand it. I don't think it's I don't think they should get life for racketeering. I don't
No, I'm not
I
saying
don't
life.
see that.
Mhm.
All right, but
I'm not
10 to 20
saying
years is fair, P. God damn, bro. What you want me to do? 30, 40?
yeah,
That
you're an
seemed
elected
pretty fair to
official.
me. I mean, for racketeering. Like I said, I would just my point. I don't know where you was about to go with that, but my point
No,
is
no, no.
that
I wasn't
a
about to
lot
go
of
to
these
there, but I'm saying just for that alone.
a lot of people is involved with this, that they trying to uncover this big web of this whole thing, and it's not going to stop basically with that. They also got FBI agents and shit that's involved in working with the Lucci family and all this shit too.
Oh
So
wow,
we got to remember that too. Police invested this investigation not over, but they just showing you
nah,
basically what they have so far for just a small councilman, and he running rings and shit like he on a like he on a fucking golf field or something. Because remember back then, that's how they used to do it too. They used to have like little
right,
flower shops, little delis and shit like that. But you go through the secret door in the back, they got the gambling and whatever else. So they still running their rackets like this.
right,
They still doing this type of business is what I was explaining in the beginning before I played it, to show people that yeah, these type of things is still going on. So looking at him being Indian, right? You saw that was an Indian man. That man name was Saha or some
yeah,
shit. Not
he a West
Saha
Indies.
in the business with the mob and shit. Y'all see the faces we be looking for. It don't be the people who is actually involved, or the faces that we don't be looking for is the people who are actually involved.
Right,
Take this Indian motherfucker for instance.
really, bro.
He's there for the face of it, and they're the backing. See, the mafia was the
Right,
sponsors. They the one got the
right,
nigga elected, so he could run the ring. Now, who they convinced to elect him? Their people. They people in that area, so they could control the rackets in the ring. Now, how many officials that we know that was supposed to be popular to us possibly was into the same business, and now is retired or now is offered to the sunset somewhere where the game plan done already worked. Remember, we went all the way back to JFK a couple of weeks back, and this
right,
type of play was also involved with his assassination. So I just
right,
want to show people that yeah, these tactics and these things are still going on, and they still finding people to this day that look like they ain't supposed to have no ties with each other, but are actually in bed and in business with each other when it comes to damn near everything black market. So it's a trip to see. It's a trip to see that they got 36 more people, and uh I guess I'll come back next week with the update on that with 36 people and the mob boss.
that's
But
a
I
lot of
really want
people
to show
too.
y'all the yeah, and all could get a racketeering charge, but not can get basically 36 of them racketeering like it's yeah. And they not sharing that charge neither. It's like individual racketeering charges. Oh man. All the others is the stuff that they could possibly, get took off or added on. But the racketeering is yeah, for sure. So
Wait, what did I just do?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man.
That's what I did. All right, so check the the biggest thing I got. I'm still trying to figure out why nobody don't catch on to these types of fucking plays, right? So in that area, we got to look at it like this here too. What's the predominant population of people in that area aside from the norm, the black and white? What's the second highest predominance of people in that area that would vote him in like that? Right? Like you say, the mafia probably helped get him in there, right? With the people that
They
they
ain't
needed to
probably
vote.
nothing. They just told you they caught them. They in bed together. He was running a racket for them. P. Ain't no problem though. And the people you referring to is the people who live in that area, whether that's white, black, Chinese, or whatever. Remember, it's through sponsorships and promotion. You they pay for those campaign commercials for a side
Hmm.
or whoever he. So I'm trying. Yeah, it's not no rocket science. It ain't no everybody involved. P. Ain't nobody that you could slip out of and say, well, probably they didn't. How they did that? No, because they know. The only people they fooling is the people. Because the people are going by what they're saying because of the campaign and all the good stuff that they talk about, all the publicity. That's you know, people falls for that type of shit. They don't use their cognitive thinking all the time when it comes to voting. Remember, it's Republican against Democrat. So if I'm in a Republican area, I'm gonna go behind both parties, but I'm gonna see which one they like. Whichever one they like, that's the one I'm gonna push and try to get this motherfucker to get in business with me to do this underground work, criminal shit that we doing. If he don't want to go with it, then we gonna start pumping up the other one and see if he gonna go along with. That's all they do. Put some dirt out
Hmm.
about that motherfucker. If he not gonna go with it, he could get eliminated. Get him out the race. Put somebody else up in there. Everything I just said, it ain't come out my brain, Pete. All this done happened already.
Right.
Everything I just said happened already to a candidate or a politician in some form of time. But they don't. They're not gonna tell
Mm-mm.
you that the mob is behind it unless they get caught, like they did. The FBI finally got enough investigative, case to build up on their ass where they could actually talk about it. So arrests and everything, like I say, got 36 of them who's all connected to the family.
Right. That's
You look
fucked
up,
up.
they get on Instagram and TikTok and shit too now, telling their business, going live and all that.
Yes,
Yeah, fun.
indeed. Oh, all right. I think I learned something. Well,
Yeah,
I ain't
I
thinking I
go.
learned something. I just definitely learned something. Yeah, them motherfuckers are slick.
Yeah, you probably already knew it. You probably just didn't think it could go down like that, because it's we've
Right.
heard these stories. It's just always in some movie setting or
Right.
untouchables
Thinking
or
like,
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, take that out of it and realize that in reality, you know, the movies are living out actual things. You know what I'm saying? Is what they call that shit is reality imitating movies or is movies imitating reality? So you got to look at it from kind of from that
both of
perspective
them.
where
Right.
you
Look at
realize
it
they
from
get
both.
caught for the shit that they supposed to be just in the movies. They actually get caught for the shit in real life that the shit is supposed to be in the movie. So it's just a different perspective of looking at it.
But his people got crazy. Oh Lord.
All right, I got one more player. I got one
All
more.
right.
Okay, we got somebody that's up next. LaRound and took out his family.
Oh,
And
shit.
in the midst of them doing the investigation, coming to find out is way deeper than just some, you know, boy that done, done off his parents, bro. So I'm gonna let them tell you, and we gonna put some of this stuff together.
Okay.
All right. So here we go.
A double homicide investigation in Waukesha takes a turn. The FBI is now linking the teen accused of killing his parents to an assassination plot targeting President Donald Trump.
It's awful, to be honest, because it's like kids and teenagers are exposed to so many things these days as it is.
Some people who live in the area are alarmed by these new details unsealed Friday in federal court. The documents detail a conspiracy by 17-year-old Nikita Kasip tied to a neo-Nazi group. Tahalil Mohadeen spoke with people who live in Waukesha County about this twist in the case.
Already facing charges for killing his mother and stepfather, 17-year-old Nikita Kasip from Waukesha became the subject of an extensive FBI search warrant.
It was alarming. I mean, it's not really something that you would think happening in such a small town like Waukesha.
Investigators discovered the teen's self-described manifesto that included making bombs, terrorist attacks, and plans for the assassination of President Donald Trump.
Just mind-blowing.
While investigating Kasip in the killings of Tatiana Kasip and Donald Mayer, authorities found material linking the teen to the Order of the Nine Angels, a network of neo-Nazis which advocates for violence and the destruction of modern civilizations. Kasip calling for Trump's assassination. He wrote, "By getting rid of the president, that is guaranteed to bring in some chaos. Not only that, it will further bring into the public the idea that assassinations and accelerating the collapse are possible." The warrant covered a number of Kasip's electronic devices, including his laptop and phone.
That's crazy to me because growing up, we didn't even really have the internet. If I ever have kids, there's definitely going to be parental controls on the internet, that's for sure.
The teen engaged with white nationalists online about his plans, writing, "My parents don't know, LOL. They would take my phone away if they did." Investigators believe Kasip may have killed his parents to get the, quote, financial means and autonomy needed to pursue his plan.
It is so true, and the fact that you just never know, what's kind of going on around you.
Investigators say Kasip made payments for an attack drone and planned to flee to Ukraine following his proposed assassination. In Waukesha, TMJ4 News.
We beefing with you, huh? What's going on? Hold on, wait. Trump is a racist. Trump is a racist, and a neo-Nazi racist is a cult dude is trying to kill him to go to Ukraine, where we've been. He not trying to go to Russia. Wait, I'm confused. Not by him though. I'm confused about how us as a people been looking at this whole situation, not especially when it comes to Trump, not knowing what you know about Trump and what the baseline about his whole thing is supposed to be. This dude here should be the epitome of what Trump stands for, right? So why is he trying to kill him?
Well,
it's confusing. That's just a question. You don't have to answer that. That's just me thinking for people that's, feel a certain way about him and what he's supposed to be as a racist, right? He's a racist. He's Trump racist. A neo-Nazi satanic cult group motherfucker is trying to plot to kill him. How does that help Trump as a racist? If you want to answer that one, you can answer that one.
I'm on a whole nother line of questions right now. And it do make sense. If Trump is said to be a racist, and you are a member of a neo-Nazi organization that stands for racism, racist actions against people of other ethnicities,
and Satanism,
the call for violence,
satanic neo-Nazi satanic group. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, that too. And the call for violence against people who don't share your views, right? They're a satanic worshiping organization. You would think that you would say, "Fuck that! I'm gonna leave Trump do what he do because it's gonna cause enough or chaos and confusion or whatever
Right.
like that, right?" So,
Right.
what would be your purpose of assassinating the president unless your organization knows something that we, the rest of the people, don't know? Then there's
Yeah,
the
and why is
you
the
killed
media lying then, spreading this shit then,
about it,
if they know
right?
there are? Oh man,
So there's
oh
more
man,
than what's being said, right? Because think
yeah,
about it.
they playing
We just
games.
heard. Now we remember we just talked, like we said, we just talked about the Kennedy assassination a couple of weeks ago. Now with that, don't forget he also said he was gonna declassify the Martin Luther King assassination, right?
Hmm.
So if that is declassified, what else will he declassify? 'Cause remember, Malcolm X assassination was declassified too, right? So in order to do these things, that means he gonna shed light to the fact that a lot of the shit that happened with MLK and Malcolm X was basically done on some racist shit to stop something big from happening that was gonna benefit black people as a whole, right? Or people as a whole. I'll just say that. I'll just say people as a whole, because black people ain't never really had no big I don't fuck with white people mentality. You know, loving people. Some had a little viewpoint toward white folk, but a lot for the most part didn't. If I could say that, right? So then there's the part where they say he killed his mother and his father for the financial
Hmm.
gain. How the fuck are
Yeah, so
you
he could
gonna
buy his
gain
shit.
anything financially, right?
No, 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 no.
When you the number one suspect.
He's buying drones and shit. That's before that happened. That's before he got caught.
By who? Mom
He
and
killed.
dad or by police?
Wait, you
No, what I'm
confusing me
saying
now?
is, no, listen. He, the news media people said that in one of the letters he was, or in one of the messages he was talking to the people who or whoever he was talking to, he said that he killed them for the financial gain and autonomy, right?
Right.
Financial gains and autonomy, which means
Hmm.
there's money going to be coming in from their death, which would be what?
No,
The
that's
insurance
not what
money,
he.
right?
No, you're going too far. You're going too far. He's. They're not saying that like he okay, like he trying to rob them to keep money to keep doing shit. He he killed them to get the money to finish completing his mission, which was to get the drones and get the other shit that he needed to create the explosives for that day. So the financial gain was just for that time. It wasn't for no long term where he could just have the money. You see what I'm saying? There is no there is no other financial gain but to get the drone and the other shit. He was crashing out basically. That's why he killed them.
I thought he killed them so he could get the insurance money off of their death to, you see what I'm saying, to do whatever it was that he needed to do. Because they said something about they probably would take my phone away from me if they found out what I was doing,
They knew what I was
meaning the
into.
mother and the
Yes.
father. Right.
Did
But
not
that's what I'm
agree
saying.
with
So,
what he was doing. They didn't know he was in the white racist group and all that.
right. That's what I'm saying. So, in order for him to get the money he needed, because
Hmm. He
you
stole
would
it from
have to
them.
do something, right? Either steal it from them or kill both of them and get the insurance money.
He did. He killed them and stole the money off the cards. That's how they found out. It wasn't about nothing with insurance.
Oh, see,
He stole their credit cards
that's what I
and
was trying to
cash
figure out.
app
Like, how
card
would
and
you?
debit. That's what I kept trying to tell you. Let financial
Yeah,
gain keep scrambling your goddamn brain. Just because they said financial gain, you went way into the bank and shit. You went way in Bank America
I
somewhere.
went to the insurance.
Financial gain just
Man.
mean money to get whatever I need, bro. That's it. Financial gain could be for me getting tennis shoes or earrings. It don't have to be insurance money. That's what all I was trying to get to say. When they say financial gain, they just use that as a, you see what I'm saying, as a reporter word to get you to see that, you know, they just tried to soften it up for you basically. Because, you know, this is a white boy. You got to say this
Right.
nicely, you know? This for his financial gain. You're not gonna just say, yeah, he stole his mama money and killed his stepdad and his mama to go get the drones and shit. See, we could just say that because we understand the shit, but that's all they meant by that. It because the whole shit was set up for him. So how long was he gonna be able to hide his mama and his stepdaddy and still wait for to get the insurance money and spend it? You see what I'm saying, P? It's a process that you gotta think about too with that.
Right.
And you probably like, well, you probably
And
could bury him, bro. You can't hide your mom and dad. It's like, especially if they've been the head breadwinners. You've been in your room, you play your game, and you be on the Nazi shit. So, you know, trust me, he wouldn't have been able to hide that shit for that long, player. And to
it
survive by
don't look
yourself,
like
what do you think he home alone, Macaulay Culkin or something? He ain't,
shit. He
he
is
ain't about that
17.
type of
He
time.
probably had a little job. You know what I'm saying? Probably had him a
He
little
probably, if
job.
he had a job, he wouldn't have killed his stepmom and his stepdad and his mama for the fucking credit cards, brother. If he had a job, come on, man. I don't know what you thinking about right now.
Hey.
You on
Yeah,
all type
never
of you
know.
on
Come
all
on, what
type of
you
time.
saying?
Why else do you think that he did it then? What you think happened?
Nah, not about to go there. I was just saying,
That nigga say
I
nothing.
had
Just
the
give me
thought.
your point of view.
Nigga
What you
might have
think
had a
happened?
little job or something.
What you think happened if he did have a job? What you think actually happened, like with the
I'm
situation?
thinking the nigga probably was like, man, the money ain't coming fast enough, and I need enough money to buy explosives. Explosives ain't fucking cheap, and this little four
I'm
five
pretty
hundred
sure they
dollar a
not.
week paycheck, it ain't enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason I was saying he probably had a little job, but realized that little money wasn't coming in fast enough for him to be able to do what he needed to do as far as buying all of those, like you say, the drones and the explosives and the stuff he needs to be able to complete the mission. He needs some big money and he needs some big money fast, right? Now, I do understand the insurance policy would have took a minute, but that's a lot of money,
Yes,
especially being that his
it
family
is.
probably was well off, right?
But you
So
ignoring how long it take by the amount it is, though. You say you keep ignoring how long it takes. It
no,
actually
no, no,
takes
no,
to
no,
get the money.
I didn't.
You just said he had a little job. It wasn't enough. He needed to get them damn explosives. But I'm
Right.
telling you,
And I also said
insurance
what?
to
He
get this. So
realized what?
so why would
That
he
little
wait for
money
insurance money?
ain't
Then Pete, think about it. You cancel
but
your whole argument.
again I say the insurance part was just something to think about. I never said that he was fully doing it for insurance money.
No, in the
That
beginning,
could
you
have been
actually
one
thought
of the
that's what he
things
was
that
doing. I had to
helped him
correct you
out
about that with
because
the
it's
financial.
bigger money. You see what I'm saying? It's bigger money. But that's still gonna take time because they gotta go through the process of why was your mama and daddy shot? Who had beef with them?
All
You see
that.
what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
I know all that. You
Yes,
see
that's
what
what
I'm
I
saying?
thought
I'm not
about
saying that
already. No, you wasn't.
that's what he was doing it
You
for.
wasn't thinking about none of
That's
that.
a
The
possibility.
first thing you thought about when them people say financial gain, your ass went straight to insurance money, nigga. You did. You went straight to insurance money. And I
Yeah,
had
you
to break
gotta
it
think
down
about
to you that
insurance money.
financial aid.
Considering the fact that fuck this nigga, bro, look, I am
Okay, but Pete, not
hold
in
on.
this predicament, you don't think about I'm gonna say insurance money because it's gonna take too long to get the money. That's why I keep telling you, it cancels out if you can't use insurance money if you got to go through that whole process to fucking get it, knowing I'm trying to do this shit right quick. I need a quick lick. That's why he took the credit cards and shit and killed them people. He went, oh, that motherfucker went renegade, man. He down with his coat. Shit, that was like a initiation for his ass.
Kill your mother and your father.
Nigga, you took out your stepdad and your motherfucking mom. Boy, you was a gangster, at least in their eyes. So I got some more of it though, just to give you a little more background on it. So you gonna hear him talk about that money again, P. So
Okay.
we check it out.
Currently $1 million bond. The 17-year-old is accused of murdering his mother and stepfather inside their Waukesha home back in February and stealing their car and leaving with the family dog. The Waukesha County Sheriff's Department says they found the bodies of 51-year-old Donald Mayer and 35-year-old Tatiana Kasap on March 1st during a welfare check.
The body was appeared to have been deceased for some time, was unable to definitively identify who it was.
Law enforcement eventually arresting Kasap during a traffic stop in Kansas 2 weeks later, saying they found a handgun, pried open safe, jewelry, and $14,000 cash inside the vehicle, as well as documents on his phone calling for the assassination of the President of the United States in order to foment a political revolution. Officials go on to claim Kasap killed his parents as part of an effort to obtain the financial means and autonomy necessary to carry out his plan. According to federal documents filed in court, Kasap shared the views of an extremist neo-Nazi group. The FBI describes the group as a satanic cult whose goal it is to incite chaos and violence. Kasap is facing 9 felony charges, including 2 counts of first-degree intentional homicide, but prosecutors hinted there could be more charges. He has not entered a plea. His next court appearance is set for May 7th.
Watch breaking news on YouTube.
Y'all stay tuned. May 7th. I will be definitely bringing an update on it. Now, these were FBI documents. Okay, these are FBI documents. This is what they got from the investigation that they've been doing for over 2 years. So that means they've been also tapping into this group that this dude is into. They know
Right.
about this group. They've been watching them. They've been studying them. They know and understand what these people rhetoric is when they talking to these people like Caspi. They're using this neo-Nazi white supremacist ideologies and mixing it and blending it with the satanic ideology, Satanism. So looking at it from that perspective, you got to put more than motherfucking one egg in a basket with this one. You got to realize how things are collaborating with each other and how these people are communicating now through these different beliefs and religions. Now, this thing has a history too, P. These people are not just coming out of nowhere. This shit has a big history that I found out about. And like I said, I didn't want to get too much into it because I didn't know how long we was going to be or who had what when it came to other news. So I just looked up who they are, you know, and it's called the Order of the Nine Angles. And these people have been around since been around. And we talking about pagan times. A lot of the teachings and a lot of these occultic religions that they believe in when it comes to this branch of it comes from these things, you know, these pagan worshiping and the goat heads and the Baphomet and yeah, all this has been tied into what you're seeing today from this little dude right here. So there is not it's not more physical than it is spiritual. This is online now, where the influence is way bigger now. It's
Hell yeah.
broader. These people come out of and these people come way out of the UK. So look at how far it done branched off into these other little white supremacist groups here in the US. They have reached the olive branch out to these other groups, P, and they connecting and they getting together and they, starting group chats and all this shit like here, talking about these type of things. So, like I said, it is probably not going to get too much uh big coverage because it's going to confuse the shit out of people knowing that a neo-Nazi Satanist group cult member was trying to kill Donald Trump. It's gonna fuck the algorithm up. You see what I'm saying, Nappy? It's gonna fuck their algorithm up. So they're gonna report on it a little bit, but you're not going to hear it. And this just happened, bro. Well, not the situation, but them talking about it.
Right.
The man told you all this happened way in February. He still had
From
the
a
shit on him
2 year
when they found him.
investigation. So we in 2025.
Yeah, the
So this is
investigate.
shit
Wait,
they've
wait, wait.
been
The
investigating since
investigation been 2 years.
2022.
I'm speaking of the incident with the boy. He killed his parents in February.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
Yes, but like I told you, the investigation has been not only with the dude. Like I
Oh,
told you, it's the order. Yeah, they've been following the order. They've been having a operation
right,
of these people. Being in place and starting these hate groups. So yeah, this situation was found out through the investigation of them and their research in the operation that been going on for 2 years, and coming to find out through a wellness check, because maybe the neighbors ain't see them people in a minute. The daddy probably always spoke to the neighbor every morning before he went to work or something. Just people recognize certain things that happen every day, and when they not happening, and then they just start seeing certain little incidents that's not normal for them in their neighborhoods, then people call and say, hey, maybe just I just want to call for a wellness check for my neighbors. I haven't seen them in a minute. The car hasn't moved. Just little stuff like that. And
we've been seeing
through
his
that
son, but we haven't been seeing his mother and his
through
dad.
right so through that opened up them finding the bodies and finding out what the little boy was in through his phone, his laptop, and every other little device that he was on.
That's
That's
crazy.
how they found
I'm
out.
not gonna say that
And
that's
through them
crazy, but
finding out, they turned it over to the people who was in the operation already. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just
right.
tying it all together for you. There you won't be like, well, how they did that? Or yeah, it's crazy, man. Let me show you, but let's get to know the order of the nine, and let's see what they into. Let's do that for the people. You know, I like to give receipts. So
The Order of Nine Angles is a satanic and left-hand path occult group based in the United Kingdom, but with associated groups in various other parts of the world. Claiming to have been established in the 1960s, it rose to public recognition in the early 1980s, attracting attention for its neo-Nazi ideologies and activism. Describing its approach as traditional Satanism, it has been identified by academic researchers as also exhibiting Hermetic and modern pagan elements in its beliefs. According to the Order's own account, it was established in the Welsh Marches of Western England during the late 1960s by a woman who had previously been involved in a secretive pre-Christian sect surviving in the region. This account also states that in 1973 a man named Anton Long was initiated into the group, subsequently becoming its Grand Master. Several academic commentators to have studied the ONA expressed the view that the name Anton Long is probably the pseudonym of the British neo-Nazi activist David Myatt, although Myatt has denied that this is the case. Thank you for watching.
like I said, just a little snippet, because they said that as nice as they could, right? So it wouldn't scare people from
Right.
joining and shit. So they said that shit nice as hell. They didn't dive into nothing. It was kind of more of, just explaining the information on the people. And that was
Briefly,
just a little snippet of the information. You know what I mean? It was just
right.
a
That wasn't
snippet.
enough
But I just want to
information.
show people that it does exist. They have their own symbol. They got their own ideology, their own belief, and they do exist. The last person they just showed you was another Anton. That was Anton LaVey that they showed. He was the head of the Satanic Church. He was one of the first ones that started that in the 1960s. Now, Anton Long, who they was talking about, is the person who was in connection with these same people around the same time when they was creating these groups. So a lot of these groups, Peter, a lot of people that are in these groups are politicians, lawyers, doctors,
Judges
physicians, mortuary motherfuckers. See, all that.
all
They
over the
all
world.
they police.
People all
Come on,
over the
man.
world.
We just don't know, who is who, and through these investigations and through people, coming forth and finding stuff out, you get to find out that, hey man, it's a lot of players involved in this game, bro. You know, from going from the racketeering thing with the mob, and then looking at this with the assassination, with the another attempt assassination on Trump, man. Hey, bro, we gotta start looking at stuff from a different lens, or at least clean the motherfucking something, bro. Clean your lens or something, cause it's a lot of stuff that they're not telling you, but it's actually happening if you just pay attention and put the pieces together. So that was my other news, bro.
The only
You know what I'm saying? Can I get a? I'm about to say, boy, can I get a? What you call him
Oh
out here?
yeah, man. I'm having a side discussion, sidebar with children in the house
Now you
about the
good? Can
food.
I just I'm gonna play my brother Steve Coakley right quick then? Hold on.
All right.
This what I be talking about.
Attack someone you can't reach, but protect the one who is hidden by paying other people to misdirect the real attack system. See, we get confused about the attack. We don't know sometimes when you're being given something, you're being attacked. It might be that weakens your resistance to further attack. It could be money. In the church, attacks are usually led about rumor. In the church, a rumor is a powerful commodity, much more powerful than fact, because you've got a speculation science. So in that arena, fact is not an argument. Rumor, speculation, the pastor sleeping with Billy Joe mama, can ruin a man instantaneously. In politics, it might be a different type of ingredient. But the knowledge of it is that every mode of leadership has a vein of attack. And so
Every motive of leadership has its vein of attack. And yeah, P, that's my final thoughts. I just wanted to leave y'all with some word from Brother Steve Coakley.
All right, folks. Now let's go ahead and get this party rolling. Um, First video I'm gonna play, man, is it's not a very long one. Oh god damn it. I messed up. Hold up. Turn this side. Okay. First video I got is not a very long one. It it just gives you like it's a little short video that I pulled up, just giving everybody a little brief description about friendship. And then the next one I got they real short. They're not gonna be long, so I'm gonna just run them both back to back, and we'll do a breakdown and our little take on that, and then we'll see what the rest see what my co-hosts have, and then we're gonna roll with them from there. All right, so hold on for one. Let me find the video, and here we go.
All right.
Of a true friend that you should never, ever leave. And the third song, if you have this, you are my brother for life. First one, this friend treats you the exact same when you're winning in life or you're losing in life. It doesn't matter. And you can genuinely sense this. It's not some fake type shit. Number two, this friend talks smack to your face in like a brotherhood way, and he glazes you behind your back because of how good of a friend you are. This shows you how much you mean to him and his character. And number three, a fake friend will value in you what isn't actually you. Now that sounds really weird, but your money, your fame, but a real friend will value what you can control. Your character, your personality, how you treat other people, your values, your morals, they are a real friend and you should never leave them.
I'm about to run the next one just to keep it rolling. Cause like I said, these real short videos, they talk kind of fast, and this this is probably like a compare and contrast.
See, if you want to speak on that, you could go ahead if you wanted to.
Well, like I said, it is those little heartfelt moments or those heart to hearts that we as and like I think that's one of the things that like I tell you all the time, bro. When me and you sit down and have those moments where you gotta get on my ass about me slipping or me not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, even though some should look at me and be like, "Well, you supposed to be the one." No, 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 no. Because sometimes the one that is older does slip up. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm older don't mean I can't learn from somebody younger than me. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm older don't mean I don't still make mistakes that other people can see. You see what I'm saying? So I look at it like this here, like I take the good with the bad when it comes to people I know who have my best interest at heart. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people might get their feelings or feel some type of way and be in their feelings by, you know, brothers like you saying what you gotta say to them to get them to understand. Like, bro, listen, you slipping, you fucking up, bro. You gotta do this, do this, do this, and stop bullshitting with yourself. You know what I'm saying? People be getting in their feelings behind that because they feel like, well, you ain't gotta talk to me like that. Sometimes that's what the fuck you need. Like, nigga can't keep babyfying you, right? So if I be telling you this, I appreciate every little thing when it comes down to us having those brotherly talks because even as I would see, I'm your older brother by what 4 5 years, 4 years.
Hmm.
That that timeline don't really make a big difference, but it makes a big difference, right? Because what I was taught in my timeline, they might have taught you something different that mean way more than the same, and it might be the same lesson, but you might have took way more from that lesson than what they taught me in the lesson that they give me, which that leave me sitting like, this is bullshit. But what can I do about it?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Where in the lesson they might have taught you, they might have taught you that this is bullshit, but this is what you can do about it, versus just leaving it at
Hmm.
this is bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So those little moments,
Right.
bro, I think is something that we as brothers keepers need to get back into because I don't think enough of our brothers are talking to each other, right? Especially if we supposed to
Hmm.
be partners or we consider each other family. We not talking enough. And I'm not talking about me, you, or nobody I'm close to right now. I'm talking about generally as a whole because we got brothers leading brothers astray out here in the streets. Yeah, man, we can go do this and we can go do this. And then that brother wind up dead while you living. You know what I'm saying? You the one came up with
Yeah.
the bright idea to go do some dumb shit, and the dumb shit get your partner killed, and now you don't even have the heart to go sit there and tell a man, mama, well, ma, that was my idea to go do that. I didn't think it was gonna backfire like that, this, that, and the other. There's
Yeah. Try to
no
make it right.
ownership. Yeah, no ownership, no accountability, no real.
You blanked out.
If I, my bad, bro. This phone it keep trying to do them auto updates. It's doing like 2 a fucking week now. But like if I come to you and I say this is what I want to do, you as my brother will come to me and be like, bro, you did you hear what you just said? That shit crazy, bro. You can't go out there and fucking do that shit. You see what I'm saying? Like you gonna be honest with me. You not gonna just sit there and coddle me and be like, well, yeah, bro, I think you can go do that, man. No, you gonna be for real. Like I don't think enough of our brothers is putting shit into realistic versus uh what we should be looking at realistically versus that fantasy life that we look for, right? This is the
Right.
reality of what you gonna find if you go do this. You go do that,
Right.
yeah, it might work out for a little bit, but how many times you gonna have to do that shit for it to keep working out like that? Versus I can go do something the right way the first time, and that right way that I did it the first time gonna pay off for me for the rest of the time. So I think that
Yeah.
those realistic conversations, and that goes for family as well. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
sometimes we have family members that stray a path, or you know, as we were saying, they make grown man decisions at a young age, and they own those grown man decisions. But the problem is that grown man decision that you made at that young age winds up carrying through until a point in your life where it's either you can shake it off and try to move forward, but like you was telling me, that grown man decision was one of the hardest grown man decisions that person ever made. And the penalty for making that grown man decision is one that I never would have to pay because I didn't make that decision. Right? And so thinking about it from what you see, that's just like, oh, the fucking eye opening thought right there. Like, dang, I didn't even think about it like that. That's the real thought. And I always looked at
Right.
the situation like this my baby. Like I want to protect him, right? I want
Right.
him to know that I care for him, right? So it's stuff like that that I think we need as brothers in arms out here fighting against all kinds of shit on a daily basis. It's just that I think we need more open dialogue and communication that we could be honest with each other and not worry about your feelings being hurt. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's a level, there's a level that I think most people don't know when they're being disrespectful about what they're saying or trying to convey or whatever. Because you could be stern with your brother, but also be respectful, right? You don't wanna, bro. Hold on, little children, please sit down. You could be stern with your brother and serious, but you don't have to be disrespectful, right? And I think that's another
Right.
thing that we gotta talk about when we talk about these types of conversations that our brothers be need to have. Is like what what's the level what level crosses into disrespect? And what level is all right, listen, you know, how do you know, right? As the person that's having these conversations, how do you know when you're being disrespectful to somebody? You don't really, unless you intentionally being disrespectful, right? But you can't see, well, I was doing that out of love. No, you was just really being blatantly disrespectful. I could take being stern with me, like, bro, you is fucking up big time, bro. You keep that bullshit up, I might have to not fuck with you for X amount of time or whatever like that, right? That's different. I could see you struggling. I could see you going through something, and you do something that you know in your heart of hearts gonna lead you down a twisty road, and you and I done already had a conversation. Like, bro, look, I don't think that's the right move to make, bro. If we could sit down and try to plot this shit out together. But that's a no no, and they go do it anyway. Nah, you being the brother that you are, I would expect that you be like, bro, I told you don't do that, bro, because that shit is not gonna work out right. Nah, I don't want to. I love you, bro, but I think I'm gonna just have to deal with you from a distance from now, right? Would that be too harsh of a thing to say for somebody that you know did something that y'all sat there and you gave them the best that okay, bro, look, that shit not gonna work out that way. And it don't, right? It fails, right? And fuck is you? You not nobody, mama.
Yeah, sometimes just as a person, you gotta do what you gotta do. For your own health too. And if people feel like dealing with that with the friend is not gonna be beneficial. To now one of y'all. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do until the things get ironed out with either one. Patience is a good one when dealing with relationships, whether that's family, friends, or spouses. A lot of people, um instead of working on that, it's easier to just lash out or be emotional or take advantage of people, the situations and stuff like that. Sometimes that's how you find out who your friends and who your frenemies is. Great
Mm.
points, though. I appreciate the compliments too, P.
Oh, brother. All right. So this next video, it was kind of a last minute video I found, but I wanted to play it for a second set of ears to hear, just to get your take on it. Because maybe I might be tripping about what the lady said, but she is pretty direct with it. But I think there's a deeper meaning behind what she said too, and I want to make sure I'm not the only one who actually hears it. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes I hear shit and I be like, I brush it off, and I think that's part of my big problem too, bro. I brush it off instead of like trying to go a little deeper into thought about it. But this is one of them cases where I think I heard something, but I need to make sure I heard it right. So I'm gonna play this last video on mine, and I'm gonna pass the torch to you because I know you got some stuff lined up and ready to roll. So check this video out, and then we'll have a quick little discussion about it.
All right.
Completely change when your 20s hit. What happens when you hit your 20s, right, is that it moves from this big group sport where you just kind of expect to be around your friends all the time. You expect to see them all the time because you do always see them all the time. But then your 20s hit, the rules change, and what I call the great scattering happens. Everybody moves in different directions, and friendship goes from group sport to individual sport. You can no longer expect friendship. Suddenly, everybody's on different timelines. You're in different cities. You're moving in different directions. And the only thing that's keeping you together from your friends from you were little is a text chain that starts to go quieter and quieter and quieter as people start to focus on the people in front of them. You can no longer expect friendship. You have to take a way more flexible approach and a more proactive approach. You got to let people come and go.
The zoo has awakened. The little angry birds in there fussing. But so on to the last video that I was looking at, or that I just played. I still think that what you described as the great scattering. If your circle wasn't that big in the first place, then the great scattering that you described never really happened, right? Don't if that makes sense. I never really hung with a lot of people. It was always a small, selected handful people that I would allow in my presence. And much like it was when we stayed up in the seven ward around each other, that select few that came through and hung with us on a daily, noticed they only came there because my spot was the central location for all of the action in the area. Literally, you could see all kind of shit right there by my house in my line. So I look at that as one thing. Now, you and I out of all the people who we met in that neighborhood around the same time are the only two who kept real contact with each other, right? Everybody else, oh man, look, whenever we see them, we try to exchange pleasantries and, oh man, give me your phone number, I'm gonna hit you up, this, that, and the other. But we don't really keep in contact because, like she said, they live a different life, they have different timeline, this, that, and the other. But it's not so much as that because we all still within the same city, right? It's not like we can't just say, "Hey, bro, I got such and such number. Let's call him. He calls such and such. We'll all get together, meet up at the old spot, and then from there go out have fellas night." Right? Not like that can't happen. It's just saying that the circle that in which we had the people who are still in contact with one another from that circle, just like one other person I know that was in our circle. He kept in contact with one of his people that he was came to the circle with. You see what I'm saying? So it's like everybody had their own specific individual people that they already came to the group with. And it's not like we all grew up together, right? We all came from different places, different backgrounds at different times, and we just all met at this one time, and everybody started being able to be on one accord with one another. So it's not like we was all sandlot buddies, like little coming up from children or childhood age into our 20s, because we all met in our 20s. So when you think about it like that, what she's saying, that's for people who've been friends since elementary school. You know what I'm saying? Or when you hit your 20s, I'm still cool with my partner I met. You might as well see right out of elementary school. You know what I'm saying? It's not very many people that I can see I've been cool with that long,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was just more of
And
a
I'm
figure
talking
of
about,
speech, though. Through anything, I think it
yes,
was more a figure of speech.
that's what I
I don't
kind
think
of
she
like was saying
necessarily was
too.
pinpointed. Yeah, I don't think she, like when she said the migration thing. I think
The great
in
scattering.
the 20 year old thing kind of threw you because you meet people after that too as well. But you also added on to what she meant by the migration because you also said that the people that we was all cool with, me and you really the only one that still keep in contact. So that migration that she's referring to is all the other guys who actually didn't keep the contact and moved on with their life. So it,
Hmm.
if we looking at it from that perspective, then there is a migration that happens whenever you get a group of friends, whether that's 5 or 500. You
Right.
still have
There's always going
you
to be
still go
some
through
type of
that
migration.
mental. Yeah, you're gonna still go through that mental separation where it's one time y'all was together, then now y'all all don't have the time to be together and chill no more like you used to. It's other responsibilities. People got families, job opportunities, lives, all that stuff. Life start, coming at you from different angles, and you just can't hold that together like you probably want to. But at the same time, it still doesn't mean that these people lost love for you neither. So
Right.
you can
Now that's
always
something
try to
else
keep
that needs
contact
to
and things
be
like that.
discussed. With the great migration or the great scattering or the separation that comes from everybody growing old, does that mean that the camaraderie that you once shared is no longer the same shared camaraderie?
Could be or could not. It all depends on where it pulled them at in their life to when they get back to being around you. Because we don't know what people done been through, you know, when they wasn't around you. They probably not that same person you remember when y'all was friends and stuff, or when y'all was closer. So you got to put that in perspective too. People do change, and the camaraderie might not be the same as you wanted it to be
It
when y'all
once
first
was.
met. Yeah, it's possible. That's what I'm saying. It's
Right.
it's not gonna always be honky dory, or or it's always their fault, or is your fault, or well, what happened? What
Anybody.
did we do? It don't have to be none of that, right? It could just be that y'all was separated for a time. He learned some other shit, or he's going through some other shit, or his life just
Right.
turned him on to another trajectory from your life, and you probably still look at that person as that same person you remember, and they might look at you like that same person they remember, and
But their
vice
mentality
versa. So
was.
yeah, no, those are good points too. It's like they say, man, you can hold on to good friends, or you could just be around bad ones. Uh, a lot of times people take that for granted when they do see people give them tough love, and take that and flip it into this enemy thing. You can make your own enemies sometimes, just you being stuck in your own way too. you know and bring that patience back up, because that's a main thing with people. And I think the way we've been taught to live and learn and watch TV, or to be social through the phones and shit. Everything is fast. Everything is right quick. Everything is microwave, and people don't realize that the emotions and shit is moving on that same pace. They, even when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, or things you're going through. Uh, Football player from LSU, I just heard, took himself out, bro. You know, the rates of people taking themselves out is getting higher. I'm hearing more and more of these situations, bro, and it's due to what I just said, and how, and why it's happening. You see friendships deteriorating, and people learning to hate each other rather than complimenting each other, or taking good advice. A lot of people don't give good advice. A lot of people give bad advice, and people still try to find their way through life through all that bad advice, and still become something, or still, you know, fight through adversities with this shit too. So, you know, you got to be strong too as well. You got to have your foundation right. Your belief system and all that got to be, you know, tight. Powerful. You gotta believe in something too, and that's how you're gonna be able to rate your friends. You rate them based off of your beliefs and how you rock too. And if they align on that same pattern, then it's gonna happen naturally, basically. Some people want to be there for people, just because that's the type of person he is. They love it.
Hmm.
Some people, some
The,
people just
the good,
want
the
friends
bad, the
around to
ugly.
use them. They get some shit around them, get some shit from them and stuff. So, you know, but I ain't gonna be too long on mine either. I just want to give uh some advice. Well, I found this dude on YouTube who was actually giving advice about communication with friends and family, and really trying to have better communication with each other. You know, um, I think he had some good points, and uh, well, not his points basically, but just kind of guidelines on certain things we all can brush up on as friends, families, and spouses, to try to have better communication. Uh, I think social media is one of the full driving forces of what we believe to be communication, but it's really not. It's interaction, and interaction is different than communication. You know,
Got
that's not the same thing. But
that's
they're
a big, big
blowing, but they're
difference.
blurring the lines. With social media,
Right.
they're blurring the lines. They're making you believe that your interaction is you actually communicating with somebody. When you communicate, you also listen. You don't just type in a comment. So
Fact.
yeah, you can cut off interaction when you no longer want to communicate with somebody, or you just want to throw up a comment and then just watch people say all kind of shit and don't respond, or have no kind of like I say, empathy or sympathy for the communication part of it. So I just gonna leave y'all with these guidelines, P. We could We can shut it down on final statements.
Okay.
We go.
Oh, I thought
What'd you say?
nah. I was saying you good. You go ahead and roll your video.
I'm about to right now.
Oh, all right.
Don't be afraid to initiate discussion with someone who seems open and genuine. So, if someone seems approachable, that's the perfect person to initiate discussion with. If another person uses personal attacks, if they're aggressive or they think they know it all, just walk away. Just walk away. It's not worth to argue with somebody. And someone said, I don't know who said this, but be careful with arguing with someone who's ignorant, because from a distance, people can't tell who's who. When a civil discussion is not possible, it's best to accept that fact and just move on. Agree that you both want to gain more perspective from the conversation. Find a point of agreement to start a conversation. Most of us are Arizonans. Something I like to say, we both can agree that we both want to see Arizona succeed, or we both care about Arizona as a community or as a state. Make sure you listen without interrupting. So that's very important, to make sure you're listening to the person that you're speaking with and you're not trying to overtalk them. You can also ask genuine, open-ended questions without, being snarky or facetious. Just, what makes you believe that? What evidence do you have that makes you say that? And it's just so you it's not to argue with them, but you just want more insight on why they're saying what they're saying. Another thing is you can take a moment before responding. This is a courtesy, and it lets the other person know that you're actually considering what they're said. You're not just shooting off right after they say something. Another thing you could do is ask for equal time. So if you're not able to get a word in, you could politely ask, may I finish my point? And you can interject. More civil discourse tips. So you can be mindful of your facial expression and tone. I'm not sure the number, but I think it's over 80% of communication comes from body language. So be conscious of your facial expressions and your tone of voice. Control your emotional response. It's going to take practice, but you're going to have to control your emotional response. Sometimes you're going to have to think about stuff before you can craft an intelligent response. So that's important. You want to acknowledge valid points. When you're talking to someone and you're both making valid points, you should both say, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Just to let them know that, you're having a reciprocative conversation. When people criticize or they disagree with your ideas, they're not attacking you personally, so don't take it personally. It's just the idea that they disagree with or they don't understand. Bottom line, be polite and respectful of others. There's two words that I like to use when discussing civil discourse, and that's empathy and humility. You're going to want to only focus on one issue at a time. Otherwise, the conversation gets too convoluted. Repeat what the other person has said in their own words. This is something that lets them know that you're listening and understand what they've said. Let the person know this is not a debate. It's not a debate. No one is going to win. It's not an argument. No, there's no persuasion. This is just a conversation for insight. Right. Cultural differences should always be taken into consideration. We all come from different places, different backgrounds, so we always got to take that into consideration. And we do that by maybe putting ourselves in other people's shoes. Respectfully ask for evidence that supports statements that have been made. Someone says something that just you've never heard before. Just ask for evidence for it, and then know when to stop. Don't get involved in a conversation where your emotions are getting high or you're getting upset. I mean, you're gonna have to know that you're gonna have to stop the conversation.
Shout out to that brother, just giving us some civil discourse. And I think that as friends, family, and spouses, we all need to work on our civil discourse, as well as us as podcasters learning how to, work this with three of us on here. Some of those tips, all those tips, I'm definitely putting them in the Rolodex to, keep it up.
All right, because I think that's another big hurdle that we, and when I say we, I mean me and people in general. I can't say everybody. I'm not gonna say everybody, because there are people who literally live by the civil discourse, and I think people overlook the fact that we could agree to disagree. We could agree to agree, right? Because some people will agree with you just to get you to shut up. And I'm like, this it. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But also, you got to show me where I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Don't just say, oh, well, you wrong and don't have no actual fact to back up what you're saying. You know, and I run into that shit a lot. And it's not until the situation really applies itself that they be looking like, oh, you did say that. Yeah, I mean, I said it, but that that didn't take away from the fact that I said it because this is a situation I've already encountered. You know what I'm saying? People think uh, sometimes that you go through or you saying stuff just to be saying stuff, and that's not always the case. Now, there are people who say stuff just to be saying stuff, but when a person like me, who has done many different things, as well as I'm quite sure a lot of people have done many different jobs, met many different people, been in many different places, so on and so forth. They say things, and they're saying this only because it's something that they've encountered once before. You know what I'm saying? And I think where civil discourse comes in at is for those that have not experienced the things that you've experienced or heard anything of what you were saying. So I like it. I really like that, man. And I had a situation some time ago where a brother and I was discussing the Bible and something dealing with Adam and Eve. And mind you, the way the conversation started, it was just us cracking jokes, but then the brother got serious. And I was like, bro, all I did was ask for you to show me where it's at in the Bible. Just show me what verse, what book it was in the Bible so that I could go research it. That way I have more information to give to the next person the next time we have this discussion.
That's
And
how it works.
it literally got to the point where this brother really thought I was attacking what he said. And I was like, bro, I'm not discrediting what you said. You said it. All I ask for you to do is just show me where it's at. So when the next time I have this discussion with somebody, or I could talk with a friend of mine who is a minister, I could ask them about this, and they could give me some more information about it too. You know what I'm saying? Because it helps to have that extra layer of information. That way you can say, well, I got this from two credible sources, not just that I'm thinking of this and this is where it comes from. No, I want to be able to say, hey, my boss showed me this. I checked with a minister, and the minister said this about it too. You know what I'm saying? These are the added layers of the discourse that I think a lot of people be overlooking, and they be thinking that you attacking what they said, which is like an attack on them personally. No, I'm not attacking you. I'm just asking questions because I don't know. And they be feeling like, well, I just told you. It don't matter that you told me. I asked for the added information so I could go research it. Not that I don't believe you. Not that I think you're telling me wrong. But I also know that there are other things that led to the point of what you're telling me about it too. I want to know the in
Yeah,
between
but
stuff.
you're not supposed to go for that anyway, even though you trying to be civil with him. You know what I'm saying? You trying to be civil with him. He's still supposed to be able to be ready to cite his sources and give references if he's going to,
Right. If you're
preach to
gonna
you
quote
about
something.
anything. That's
Right.
how they go. There's no not you supposed to ask for that. That's a part of having a conversation. And I think people
Right.
dilute that shit when they don't actually know, or they just want somebody to hear what they're saying. Like I was talking about
Right.
earlier, interaction is not communication. Interaction is not communication, bro. He just react interacting with you. So you sitting there trying to have a little fluff conversation, just brazen off of certain things, bumping stuff back and forth or whatever. He jumped into his mode. That because it seems like a challenge, which is not even much a debate. And that's the
Right.
misunderstanding with the communication. Yeah, it goes far, bro. And them type of people, you're not gonna have a good dialogue with, basically, or you're not gonna have no type of understanding. So a lot of times, just try to just try to see if just try to see if they would accept you listening to them or saying that, yeah, bro, I hear you. Oh, all right, and throw a little something in there just to see, if they can't take that, man, they ain't. You might well, like Ron said, bro, you might well walk the fuck up. Ron already told you, bro. Civil discourse. Walk the fuck off. That's what it said, bro. I forgot what number dot it was, but it's on there. Walk the fuck out. So,
And
you're
that's
not gonna get everybody to, yeah, catch what you're throwing, but at least you try, bro. At least you tried to be civil. That's the only thing you could do in that type of situation. You got a question too, Peter.
Oh wait,
Well,
hold
both
on.
of us.
I ain't
Anyway,
even.
you could go first. I got it. When
Okay, wait.
someone let you know you're wrong, do you accept it?
Yes, it now. It depends because some people just cannot accept that they're wrong.
Not people. I think this was more personal, like with you yourself. Do you accept when you're wrong?
I find it hard to. I
Okay.
really do, and the reason I say that is because it's you kind of get stuck in your ways, right? And I'm one of those people. I got stuck in my ways about information, especially when certain information was presented to me, and nothing ever came about to correct that misinformation, right? So when people who do come with the corrected information correct me, I find it hard to accept that because the information that I got was, during a time in my phase where I was like, well, fuck, this got to be the right information. A motherfucker
You're right, right.
showing
This
me
is what it
this.
was. Yeah.
You know what
This
I'm
is what
saying?
it is. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
this is what it was. This is what it is. So when it gets
It's
down
not
to that,
full on denial, but it's like a part of like denying something, like,
yeah,
knowing
cause
that there possibly can be more information, but it's still like
right.
just like
But that,
this
and guess
this is what
what?
it is.
Nah, to fully go into it now, like since we've been doing podcasts and me, you, and Chop and everybody on in the camp, when they come with that information, I done got to the point now where I don't even find it hard to believe no more because looking at all of the information, just like I say, a lot of stuff that I was taught at a certain age frame, younger people than me were taught the same lesson, but they were taught the additional parts that contradicted the stuff that was taught to me, right?
Uncovering the lies and stuff like that. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, uncovering the lies and the stuff. Because what they said to us about certain parts of history when I was in school, that
That's
was
right.
word and law,
Wrong as a motherfucker.
and wrong as fuck. Because now we starting to see what the
In law.
timeline not adding up. Look,
Uh,
the timeline not adding up. The numbers at which they're
right.
talking about this occurred didn't add up. The way the people did said things weren't adding up. So it was like, okay, now there's no point in me even denying that these things can be said or have been said, and here's the
Right.
actual truth in it.
Right.
So
You got more information on what it was.
right.
Right.
So now I'm getting to the point where when somebody does say, "Hey, you're wrong," and they show me where I'm wrong at, I accept it now. I have to accept it. Ain't no if, ands, or buts. Hey, you right, and that's all I can say. Why? Because you're right.
Right.
Like
Is what it
but
is.
I think that that's one of the things that I think a lot of people be, you know, uh, looking at, and that's a good question. That's a very good question. And
Yeah, it
if
is.
that doesn't
It
do
is.
that, if that doesn't do anything more than help people like me who get stuck in their ways understand that you're not right about everything. You can be right about some things some of the time, but you can't be right about everything all of the time. And so
Right.
that's one of the lessons that I think is much more prevalent and easiest to learn is that you're not always right. And even though, there have been situations like I definitely could tell, especially when you now this one of the things with me. If you tell me to do something and I do it, and you come back and be like, I didn't tell you to do that. Yeah, you did. This is how the conversation went. And this is what you said to do. And I did that. It is those people that I will not yield to, right? I will not yield because I did what you asked of me, right? And you're saying you didn't say that, or you still wrong. How can I still be wrong when somebody has came and confirmed to you that you did say for me to do this? You did ask for me to do this, right? Now that's the part where I will not accept you trying to correct me, especially when you know you forgot that you said this is what I need you to do, and I go do it, right? So that's the only time where I feel like if somebody come to correct me, and whether they feel that and that goes for, and I tell that to anybody, if especially if you in management and you ask me to do something, then you come back and say I didn't tell you to do that. Yes, you did. Oh, it's not your job to argue with the manager. Yes, it is. Know why? Because he asked me to do it. I did it. And he's saying he didn't say for me to do this, that, and the other because pressure done got put on him about something that got done. And they didn't want that done at this time. That's not my problem. I did what you asked me to do. So, um, yeah, I can agree that I do find it difficult to accept that I'm wrong sometimes, especially when
Yeah.
there's not enough. Huh?
No, I was just about to give my take. I thought you were finished.
No, no, I was just saying I'm about to wrap that up, but I do find it hard to accept that I'm wrong, and it's an interesting thing, especially for me when I'm proven wrong. Once you prove me wrong, all right, you got it. I can't do nothing but accept the fact that I was wrong. You know, love you for correction. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we gotta get past is understanding that when people correct you or try to correct you, or they're not correcting you as a way to put you down, they're correcting you as a means to help build you up. So now
Yeah.
knowing that, yeah, I could definitely learn to accept when I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's what's happening, bro. Just as like speaking on my end of it, um, it kind of dabs into what you said too. I will take responsibility, but sometimes emotion and uh the proving grounds of when you're right and when you're wrong gets blurred and screwed too. So sometimes when you think you're right, you're actually wrong, and sometimes when you're wrong, you could probably be right. So the acceptance of being wrong is also having a responsibility on yourself to is a responsibility of reflection as well. You want to reflect on what you could be wrong or right about. It might don't be the exact thing that's the problem. It you could you could be then flipped your right into a wrong by how you reacted and responded to you actually being right. You know, and what I mean by
Hmm.
that is like the attitude or the way you come at it. Like the dude was saying in my video, body language and the way you respond to things and stuff. That's a part of excuse me. That's also a part of this discourse or this communication that you having with that person or with whatever's going on. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely think I do accept more of my rights than my wrong because I try as much as I can not to be purposely wrong or purposely tell people shit when I don't have all of the information, and when I do that, it's under me saying, well, this is what I believe or this is my theory, but if I say it's a fact or if it's coming from from a source that I believe that, well, I ain't gonna even say believe, that I know that, that this is what it is, then that's where it's coming from. People could take that different ways as well, and it could still be a wrong on your end because you're so fixated on trying to prove that. And that's something I think, if I had to work on anything with my, with my rights and my wrongs, that would be one of the things that I would, that still working on to this day. Just having the patience with people to understand, both sides, and understanding how this, communication thing work. But I definitely do try to take responsibilities for my wrongs. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna always have, these type of conflicts with people when they don't think they wrong too. So sometimes it could turn into something, but like I say, try to stay civil as possible in these type of situations, because things could get thrown left or misunderstood or mistaken, and you could possibly, sever relationships with people just based off of, simple miscommunication. People say stuff that they don't mean in the midst of being angry, and things can be taken back. So things could go real far when you don't try to hold on to that responsibility of being wrong, and that's in the midst of probably being right about the situation. So not only just as a human being, or not only, excuse me, not only as a man, a black man, having to hold these type of responsibilities, but as a human being looking at stuff from, a broader view. I think this is something that we definitely have to stay on track with and learn from each other to be better, bro. Because I think that's what it's mostly about. Then trying to tear people down, and if you on that type of time, stay the fuck from around me, because I'm not gonna walk away every damn time. Okay, all right. That's all I had. P. Dot. Final thoughts, my brother. Appreciate you too,
Oh
G504.
yeah.
That's what's up.
So, oh wait, not to mention Chop Track, Shorty Red, that Gaming Pro
Chat
65,
track, short red,
uh,
improve.
uh, Cash Him Jen. Welcome to the show. Nola Factory Receipt. Thank you for your
Know the
comment.
fact.
Oh, yeah, man. Okay, so going back to the end of the news
So you
portion,
never
man,
apologize.
we definitely got to get on these
Know the
mortuaries
facts. I ain't even see
ass.
you in there.
We gotta definitely get on these mortuaries ass about the fucking the shit they doing. People, if you have a loved one that has recently passed and you feel something is off with the funeral home at which you are uh investing your decedent's money in, right? It is, if you feel like something is off, it is definitely best to go check it out and see what's going on. Because like what we found today, a man got stabbed because he found out, and his little niece, he and his niece found out, or he and his sister, I think it was, found out that two of their loved ones were not being properly cared for in the manner in which they were supposed to be being cared for, like poor air conditioning to keep the bodies preserved. Uh, the funeral home was under construction, looked like the people weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing with the bodies, and one person got stabbed, and the law enforcement officials are not pressing charges on nobody, that the person that did the stabbing, because they claimed they was protecting themselves. Not that they were in fear for their life, but I was protecting myself. So I'm, on the fence and still trying to figure out what the situation was with that and how you feel like you got to protect yourself, but you was in the wrong. So That's the one thing right there. Start checking these funeral homes out, make sure they doing what they gotta do with your deceased loved ones to make sure that they're being properly taken care of for their final moments here on this planet. You know what I'm saying? What was your
Mm.
other end of the news?
The
Um,
the councilman got caught up with the mob, and
oh yeah,
the little
yeah.
white boy who killed his parents for the assassination of Trump.
All right. So with that one, the white boy that wound up killing his parents, joining a neo-Nazi organ or being a member of a neo-Nazi organization. I can't wait to see what updates we find out with that because there's definitely going to be more, and I believe you with that one, brother. They got a 2-year investigation into this, and this man killed his mother and his father, and was literally emptying their bank account to go carry out a mission of assassination against the current president of the United States, which is a racist organization, and you supposedly trying to assassinate a person that is said to be racist, right?
Hmm.
That's a contradiction. That's a contradiction in itself.
Somebody
Like,
lying.
how you know somebody definitely lied, right? And the only, like I say, the only reason I could think that you would be trying to assassinate a person who is the president of the United States, who is alleged to be a racist, would be only if he is about to do something that goes against racist ideology, right? Or he's done something that will go against racist ideology. So,
Yeah, he said he was gonna move
that
to Ukraine too. So it's a heavy
right.
LGBT community out there, which is weird. Yeah, so
I think that just was something that they probably bucked him up like, yeah, you can flee to Ukraine. They're not gonna come get you from over there. Yeah, we'll protect you. They can't protect your ass now, bud. The feds got you. And for
but
that city councilman that uh got caught up, you knew what you were
racketeering,
doing.
money laundering. Yeah, he ran one of the
Right?
shops. Yeah, he actually. Yeah, he was
So
gambling in the
deep
back.
down inside, you know, I say 10 to 20 years is not enough time. I think they ought to give you at least 30 or 40. That will set the tone for any other uh, elected official that get caught taking bribes or doing backdoor deals or doing some shady stuff and stuff like that. I think that should set the tone. And with that, I also believe that there should be no parole, no probation. You do 40, come home. You can't run for office no more. You can't eat. Nobody in your immediate family can't even run for office because we don't know that you might be the puppeteer pulling the strings behind the scenes. And I think if that was a law, I think that'll stop a lot of this foolishness from happening, bro. Because it's too much shady stuff that's happening with these people that we putting in office. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
deep down
yeah, we
inside,
taking that shit for granted too, bro. We not
right,
taking that shit as serious as it actually is too. Well, I'm not speaking as the people, but the officials in the media who supposed to be, putting us on game about this type of shit. Where it won't be happening, but as you can see,
right.
still voting them in and all kind of shit. You finished with your
Yeah, that
final
was
thoughts,
my
B?
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well. Yeah. My final thoughts is great discussion on the on just people looking out for you as far as friends and just looking at the relationships and stuff. I think it was something that was needed for you probably to discuss. I'm always down for a good discussion. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
hopefully just some of those little pointers with your boy video, y'all can replay it and rewind it. I'll go look for it yourself on online and study some of that, man. Actually take it into reading material for yourself, and look at some of those guidelines and ask yourself, did when you having conversations with people, are you applying these civil discourse, Are you taking this civil discourse? I'm meant to say, are you, applying yourself to be better, not only for that person or for conversation, but for yourself? More. There's going to be updates, people, definitely on the nine, the order of the nine angles. That's the name of this neo-Nazi satanic cult group. So y'all put that together. They neo-Nazi and they satanic, and satanic. They like to play with chakras and and sexual stuff and all that type of stuff too. So I don't know how that fits into neo-Nazi when they don't like LGBT. It's a it's a popcorn of a caramel popcorn ball full of uh shit that we're gonna have to we're gonna we're gonna have to break apart like a goddamn good weed bud with this stuff, because it is definitely trying to throw people for a loop. But this is the type of stuff I've been talking about that's being played behind the scenes, that they use against the people to separate them. How y'all could be together and play booty games with each other with satanic Nazi cults, but y'all don't want to see black and white people together, or these type of ideologies and stereotypes that they push out there. So we definitely gonna get into more of that one. Again, with the mafia thing, the mafia situation, the JFK, these people are still running families. They still out here, and they are definitely uncovering a lot of things with them as well. I'm gonna bring updates on that one too, because over 36 people plus a mob boss was also indicted on that case, as well as a Indian councilman, people. So there's another contradiction in how we think the mob's supposed to work. You're supposed to be families, and you're supposed to have the blood and all that. They not going by them old rules no more, people. They breaking barriers with this shit. They need people to come and join them so they could keep these ideologies going. Not only ideologies, but the way of life, to keep, their shit in place, basically. Let's say it like that. And whether that's financial power or politics. When stuff need to happen, like a casino or a building they need or something, trust me, they need government officials to okay a lot of these things. And a lot of times, this is how they doing it. Racketeering, laundering, and so forth and so on. A lot of these cases, this is why the RICO is here to this day, because of how that shit was laying out. And we wasn't having no laws or nothing that could actually get these people indicted. So is the RICO being misused? Yeah, 100%. Because our government, them bitches not squeaky clean. They getting on president getting on DOJ ass not about a lot of these cases. And they still having a lot of these police brutality cases and shit like that. So these people are possibly a part of these same organizations, people. Remember, this shit gotta look like something. They don't gotta be what it is. So, like I said, shout out to everybody in the building, man. I appreciate y'all for coming through once again, man. All the love. You feel me? And y'all on the replay. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all too, man. P-Dot, take us out, player.
Well, folks, you heard the man. You heard me. That's our final thoughts for the evening. This has been another good Sunday discussion with Blunt Talk NOLA. I'm your host, P. Dot on the spot.
Son Child 17. God, son.
And Chop Tracks was in the comments.
Chop Tracks was in the comment.
NOLA facts and receipts. Cash Burn Jim. That Gamer Pro 65. Shorty Red. Thank y'all. Continue to spread the word. Tell somebody. Like, share, subscribe. Keep them comments coming. Remember, I'll put the link I thought I did this time, but it didn't go through. I generally put the link in the top of the comments. That way, if you want to jump up on stage and speak your piece, you'll have the opportunity to do so. Um, Join us again next week for another good episode of Blunt Talk NOLA. Once again, P. Dot on the spot, Silent Child 17, Godson, and Chop Tracks will be in the building. So hit us up, let us know what y'all think. Leave emails, comments, so on and so forth. Let us know what's going on. And we out this bad boy.